Hi, I'm Coach Katie from ClubCal Online. I have the wonderful Coach Grace here. Today we're going to be doing a 360 class, so we're going to be hitting from head to toe with you guys. What we have here, and if you have stuff at home, we have a block. You can use that or any elevated surface. And we also have 2 dumbbells. These are not necessary, but if you would like to add some extra weight to the leg exercises that we are going to do, go ahead and grab your dumbbells. All right, let's start. We're just gonna start out with some basic squats. Feet are a little bit wider than shoulder width, and she's keeping her back nice and straight, all the way down, all the way up. Good. We're gonna do 10 squats. When she gets to 10, she's gonna end up jumping. If you wanna finish the 15 with just the squats, you can finish the 15, or you can start jumping for the last 5. So when she gets to 10, she's gonna go ahead and jump for her last 5. 1, good. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good, we're gonna give the legs a little bit of a break. We're gonna have our feet, you can either have them together or they can be apart, but just make sure that they are parallel and stacked. We're just gonna do heel raises. We're doing 15 heel raises, lifting all the way up, making sure the inner thighs are squeezing. Yep, we're trying not to let the body sway too much. We wanna make sure we're really controlling it with the calves. Good. And on this one, you guys are doing 15 total. Good, really trying to keep everything nice and tight, squeezing the base of the glutes here, inner thighs engaged, and really trying not to let your ankles sickle out to the side. You want everything to be going up nice and straight, staying even on the big toe and pinky toe side of your foot. Good. Once we finish the 15, we're gonna move on to some lunging and lunge jumps. I'm gonna have her do the same thing. We're gonna have one foot in front. She's gonna lower down in a lunge and just straighten back up 10 times. We're gonna do 10 here, and then again, she's gonna jump on the last 5, but if you do not feel like you wanna jump, there's no need. You can keep doing just the up and down lunges. Her chest is up, and she's staying nice and stacked, making sure the knee is not going over the front of the foot. And jump, good. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good, before we do the other leg, we're actually gonna do turned out position with our heel raises. And keeping the glutes nice, squeezing, tight, tight, tight. This one you want inner thighs to be squeezing. Good, all the way up, all the way down. Good, squeezing, squeezing. This one is a little bit more challenging to not let that foot roll towards the pinky toe. So really try and keep the pressure more on the big toe without falling forward. Again, this is 15 times. Good. And then we're gonna do the other leg with the lunges. So she puts the other leg in front. She's gonna be doing her 10 lunge downs with her 5 jumps. Again, you do not need to do the jumps. It is an option. Good, once she gets to 10, she's gonna do her 5 jumps. Good. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. Last set of heel raises, we're gonna be slightly turned in. We don't wanna be so turned in that it cranks your hips, just slightly turned in. And if this is uncomfortable for your knees, you can go back to parallel, but same thing, we're doing 15 here. Good, squeezing. Again, making sure that that heel stays right in the middle of the big toe and pinky toe, not letting it roll out to the side towards the outside of the ankles. And again, this is 15. Good. Okay, so we're gonna do twist kicks. With this, we're gonna stay on one leg and do all 10 kicks. Your body is gonna twist one direction, and then when you kick, your body is going to twist the other direction, and it's gonna come back. So we're gonna do 10 on the same leg. 1, good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Other leg. This is working on your coordination and the twisting of the torso, getting it nice and warmed up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. She's going to stand her legs in a straddle. Now that we've warmed up our legs, we're continuing with the torso and adding a little bit of the shoulders. So she's going to reach her hands down. One hand is going to reach up towards the ceiling. She's going to open up this way, and we're going to do windmills, and then she's going to switch to the other side. In this position, we're doing 5 on each side, really trying to open up and squeeze those shoulder blades together. Good. You can bend the knees if this position is a little uncomfortable and you have some hamstring flexibility issues. Good. After 5 on each side, we're going to move down to our hands and our knees, and we're going to stretch out the wrists. So fingers are going to be forward, palms are down, and we are leaning forward. If you want, you can rock from side to side. If you want to take some pressure off of your wrists, you can move the knees forward. If you want to add some more pressure, you can move the knees backwards and lean forward a little bit more. It's going to rock here. And then fingers are going to turn out to the side. She's going to rock side to side in this position. Good. And then last one, fingers are going to pull back this way, and you're going to lean backwards. Give them a nice little stretch. If you want to add a little bit of dynamic, you can lift the palms up by bending the elbows. This gives a little bit more of a stretch into the forearms. Good. And release. We're going to circle out. We're going to warm up the shoulders just a little bit. Grace is going to go into a plank position. From here, she's going to keep the body position. Her hips are staying open. Shoulders are staying protracted. She's just going to tiptoe slightly forward into a slight planche. Oh, butt's going to stay down. Just leaning, yes, and then walking back. We're going to do 10 walks. 2, good. 3, 4, shoulders staying protracted. 5, awesome. 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And we're going to give the shoulders a little bit of a rest. Next, we're going to move on to stretching out the ankles. On this one, we're going to take the knee and slightly move it forward so that you're getting the front of the ankle. Grace can show the front view and I'll show the side. Just slightly lift it up so we're getting the front of the ankle. You want to make sure the ankle is not rolling out to the side. So really try and keep that heel right underneath your glute as much as possible. And if you want to add a little bit more pressure, you can just kind of sit down on your heel and it pushes the front of that ankle into the ground a little bit more. And I'll hold this for about 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to stay on this leg and we're going to stretch out the front of the toes. You actually pull it up just a little bit more. And now I'm just stretching the front of the toes, keeping that foot in a nice pointed position. This can be challenging on the big toe as those tendons are usually pretty tight. So we usually kind of want to roll out to the side. Really try and stay over the big toes as much as possible and just leave as light a pressure as you can if these are really tight for you. 3, 2, 1. Good. Release. And we are going to switch legs and lift the knee up. Good. And she has her heel right underneath her glute. And this does not have pressure on the front of the toes yet. This is just in the ankle and just stretching out the front of the ankle. Just a slight lift of the knee. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lift up, front of the toes. Good. She has that ankle in a nice straight line. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. We're going to do some rise up push backs. I'm going to show the advanced version of it, and then I'm gonna have Grace kind of show stepping back over the toes. So from the side, you're gonna have hands right by your knees, lift up to the point, roll over your toes to a releve and flat foot, up, roll over, and here. And if Grace wants to go to this side, if we're just doing a modified version of it, you're just gonna lift up to the toes and then just step the feet over one at a time. So she's gonna lift up and then step over, go to a flat foot, and then lift up, and then just step over, and down. So you can take as much pressure off of that as you need to, and she's going pretty high. So she's doing the advanced version here. I usually do 10 in this position. If you're doing the 1 foot at a time, it's a little bit slower, so you can do 5 coming up and down since your pace is gonna be a little bit slower. Good. Good. And Grace is pretty flexible, so her hamstrings can handle that position. If you're not very flexible, you can go up to this position here, and you can work one at a time. Flip over, push down into the front of the ankle, come here, back here. Switch the ankle, roll over, push down, and then lift back up. So if you don't have the flexibility to be able to go up into that pike position, just modify as you need to. Okay, are we all warmed up?
So warmed up.
So warmed up.
Let's do this.
Okay. We're gonna start with your elevated surface. Whether we have a block, you can use a couch or any elevated surface that you can. We have our dumbbells here if you would like to add some extra weight, but it's not necessary in this position. Did you want to use weights?
Yeah.
Okay. So what Grace is gonna do here is she's gonna lift her back leg up. We're doing 2 different things here. We are doing a bent leg and a straight leg. So she is going to squat down. She's making sure the knee stays stacked. Then she's going to lift up. Then the back leg is going to lift and then lower back down. She squats down, chest stays up, and then squeeze and lift, trying not to let that chest lean forward. Good. And 3. Lift up. Good. We're doing 2 more. We're doing 5 total. Down, lift up. Good. Down. Here, and lift and squeeze. Good. Then we're going to switch legs. And the chest stays up, lower down. Awesome. Here, and squeeze. Make sure that back leg is nice and straight if you can. And 2. And squeeze and lift. 3. And lift. 4. And squeeze. Good. Last one. 5, and good. And then you can put down your dumbbells, and we are going to come into feet. We're still going to use our elevated surface. We are doing pike to planche. So you can do this with your feet on the ground if the elevated is too much. I'm going to have Grace show the elevated position first. She's going to start in a pike position. She's going to have more of a pike in this position, but you can make it a little bit easier by having your hands walking forward and less of a pike. So when you finish this position, it'll be less pressure on the shoulders. So starting here, straighten the legs if you can. She's going to have her hands slightly turned out so that you're aiming towards the middle of your thumb and your pointer finger. Takes the pressure off of your wrist a little bit more. She's going to lean forward, ribs stay in, and then push back up. We're doing 10 in this position. 2, good. And 3, 5 to 10, depending on where you're at or how tired you are. 4, 5, good. She's keeping her shoulders protracted on the way down. Good. Squeeze. Awesome. Low belly staying in tight, ribs are staying engaged. Squeezing, squeezing, and push. Nice. Awesome. Round 2. This is great if you have a partner at home too. You guys can alternate exercises and then rest in between. Go at your own pace, whatever you need to do when you're at home. Okay, back leg is up, chest is lifted, and lowering down, 1, good, and squeeze, 2, up, good, 3, and lift, 4, up, 5, and squeeze, good, and release. This is also helpful if you have some balance issues. You can hold onto something in front of you and lower down and then pull back up if you're having a little bit of a struggle balancing on that one leg. 1, and lift, 2, up, 3, and lift, good, 4, up, and 5, and squeeze, good. Dumbbells down, moving on to our pike planche. Again, when you're at home, feel free to pause, take a break, take a rest, switch off with partners, starting here. I'm gonna have Grace show the first 5 with her feet elevated and then the second 5 with her feet down so you can see the both advanced version and the modified. 1, 2, 3, good, 4, and 5, awesome. The last 5 she's gonna do with her feet down. And this could be in a less of a pike. If you're feeling too much with the shoulders leaning forward into the planche, you can always just stop in a plank position. Can you show the plank position stop? Right there, where the shoulders just stay stacked over the wrist versus leaning forward. The planche with the shoulders leaning over the hands is significantly more challenging, so feel free to modify as you need. Good. Okay, you can do as many sets as you want. I would say 2 to 3 sets. We're gonna do 2 sets today, but feel free to do another one if you would like to do another one, and you can go ahead and pause the video and do your 3rd set. But we're gonna move on to our other set of legs. These are gonna be more of a straight leg position. We already did our back leg lifts in our arabesque position. Now we're gonna move on to straight leg positions in the front and on this side. We're gonna do lifts, and then we're gonna do holds for time. So we're gonna do 10 lifts to the front, and then we're gonna turn and do 10 lifts to the side. So she's gonna lift her leg up in that elevated position, go wherever you need to with your arms. It can be on your hips, it can be out to the side, wherever feels good for you. We are doing 10 lifts, and 1, 2, good, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and hold, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, awesome. Other leg. In this position, guys, you want to be careful when that leg lifts. Sometimes we want to kind of hunch over in this position. So really try and feel it just in the hip flexors and the quads and trying to keep everything up nice and tight, avoiding that kind of hunched over position. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and hold, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good, on the side, you can choose depending on where your hips are. I'm gonna have Grace do 5 and 5. We're gonna do 5 lifts with the knees facing forward, where you're lifting out to the side. This can be a flexibility issue, so if you can't lift your leg on an elevated surface, just have it flat on the ground, making sure those hips stay square. We're gonna do 5 with a 5-second hold here. Then I'm gonna have her rotate the hips so that the knee is facing up, and we're gonna be now focusing on that hip flexor and quad. In this position, be careful the chest isn't leaning this way. You wanna let that hip socket kind of rotate within, or the hip girdle rotate within that socket as you're lifting up. So 5 here and 5 here. Just lifting out to the side. Good, both hips are facing forward, knees facing forward. And 1, 2, good. The chest is nice and straight. 3, 4, and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now she's gonna roll to a turned out position, and it's a little bit easier if this foot is slightly turned out as well, because it keeps the hips still facing forward, and they're both in a turned out position. And lifting from here, making sure that hip stays down, good, yes, 2, good, 3, this one's hard, 4, and hold, 5, 4, yes, 3, 2, 1, good. Again, elevated is really challenging, so you can just do it on the floor if you need to. And the turned out position, if you feel like this hip is wanting to go this way, just move that foot slightly in front, and it'll keep the hips nice and square on that turned out knee up position. Okay, we're gonna face the other direction. Starting with the knee facing forward. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, awesome. And you're gonna have a better leg and a not so great leg, so just base your height off of where you're at, making sure that chest isn't leaning to the side and making sure that hip is kind of staying dropped in that socket. And 1, good. 2, she's got a nice fold here. 3, good. 4, and hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Awesome. Yowza. Okay, giving the legs a little bit of a break. You can do this against a wall. It just kind of helps you from sliding. You don't have to, but it's a little bit easier with your feet against a wall. So she's gonna have her feet against the wall. We're gonna start in a plank position with our shoulders stacked right over our wrist. We're gonna find that nice hollow body position with the glutes squeezing. She's gonna walk out to a long hollow, walk back in, and do a push-up. She's gonna walk out, walk in, and then down into a push-up. And you guys can modify by being on your knees. Okay, we're doing 5 in this position, good. And you can do the long hollow on your knees as well if you'd like. So she'll walk out, all the way out, ribs are in, glutes are squeezing, and then come back in, and then do that push-up. Good, we have 3 more. Walking out, squeeze, shrug into your ears, good. Good fix of the pelvis, and push down. Last 2, reaching out, shrugging, good, and back in. And push, down, walk out, and back in, and last push. Good, and release. Before we do some more, our second set of the hips, we're just gonna do a little bit of hip circling to prep them for our second set. So we're gonna come back on our backs over here. Grace is gonna sit on her butt. You can face that way. She's gonna go back on her elbows. She's gonna extend one leg out straight. Let's do the other leg so that you don't kick the box. Yeah, so she's gonna lift the leg up.
This one?
Yep, and then circle it around towards me, and then back down. Good, up, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good, then we're gonna switch legs. Yep, and 1, good, 2, 3, good, 4, and 5. And then I'm gonna have Grace just sit up and just do some swivel hips. You can do as many as you'd like, rolling side to side, just stretching it out. Good. And then you guys can also sit in a butterfly position, feet together, knees out, and just give it a nice little stretch and just kind of rest your body and get those hips ready. Good, and release. And let's go ahead and do our second set of both the leg lifts and our plank walks.
Forward.
Forward first, yep. Again, you want to keep that base leg nice and straight and make sure that you're folding in the hip flexor and really using the quad versus kind of hunching over to lift that leg using your pelvis. Good, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, hold, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good, other leg. Yeah, again, guys, lower if you need to, because just lifting off the ground alone and having the right position is really challenging because it isolates that hip flexor and quad muscles. Ready, other leg, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and hold, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And so I'm counting for 10 seconds, but hold as long as you can or as long as you feel you need to for that position to not start hunching over and losing your shape. Okay? Moving on to the side. Knee facing forward. Both feet are in a parallel facing forward position in here. Yep, good. And 1, 2, and her chest is up. 3, great. 4, awesome. 5, hold. 5, 4, good. 3, 2, 1, awesome. And on these guys, you can go to a wall and have her right hand on the wall, and that kind of keeps you accountable for not leaning into the wall. You can use that wall and make sure that chest is staying up, nice and stacked over those hips. In a turnout position, I find it helps if both feet are turned out, but is dependent on your hips and where they are sitting. And 1, good. 2, chest up. 3, awesome. 4, good. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Awesome. Other side. Lots of hips. Good. Bottom foot facing forward, knees facing forward. Awesome. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Awesome. And feel free to come down in between these two things and do a little hip swivel. Give yourself a rest. We're moving at a pretty quick pace in this one. Turn out. And 1, good. 2, 3, 4, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Awesome. Yeah, let's do some swivel hips right now, just in between. Rest your body, get some swivel hips on the side. Just get like 5 on each side. Awesome. Okay, let's do our second set of our plank walk push-ups. Again, guys, these can be done in a regular position on your feet, or you can modify by going down to your knees. Ideally, the hips are, even if you're on your knees, the hips are still open. So she's still in a push-up position. Can you open your hips? So we're still here. Hips are open, pelvis is tucked under. You can walk your knees in a little bit closer if you're still struggling with it, but ideally we want to have that nice push-up plank line, whether you're on your knees or on your feet. So we walk all the way out and in. Good, to that push-up. She has nice elbow in push-ups on this one. And extend out and back up, down and up. Good, 3 more. And shrug, shrug, shrug. That rib cage is staying in. Good, and come down and push. Last 2. All the way out and up. Good. And last one. Good. And up. Good. And we're going to rest. Okay, from here, we're going to do just some core conditioning. We hit your upper body, we hit your legs, and now we're going to move on to some core. So you can use either your dumbbell or you don't have to use your dumbbell. We're going to do some hollow body arm lifts in this position. So I'm going to have Grace lay on her back. And you can use something lighter than a dumbbell. You can use a big dumbbell, a little dumbbell, a water bottle, if that's all you have. or nothing at all. So I'm going to have Grace show the advanced version first. So she's going to be in a full hollow body position. She's going to extend the R's open and then come down. To modify, she's going to bend the knees and just open and down. And even to modify more, she can put her feet on the ground and just work on the upper body. So we're going to finish here. We're going to do 10 total in this position. Good, and Grace is doing the advanced version. Awesome. Great. Good. Okay, so now Grace is going to rest her upper body, and she's going to extend her legs up to the ceiling. This can be done with either both legs or single leg, depending on where you're at. So you can have your hands on the ground, you can have your hands on your belly, wherever you feel comfortable, just trying not to let that chest lift up. Just going to lower the legs down, keeping that low back on the ground and go back up. Only go as far down as you can with keeping that low back touching the ground. As soon as that low back lifts, you've gone a little bit too far and now you've lost your core engagement. Up. Good. Is this 5?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to do 10. 10 total. Having your hands on the ground gives you a little bit of help with that. If you have your hands up, it's a little bit more of core engagement. It makes it a little bit more challenging. Good. And a modified version of this, if you want, we'll just show one, Grace. You can extend one leg up, extend both legs up. She's going to tuck her knees and then extend out as far as you can with both legs. Yep. And then tuck the knees, extend up to the ceiling, and then bend the knees, extend out. So it has a little bit less weight as you're going through that motion, the extended out version. She did a modified. You can extend one leg out at a time if you would like, instead of extending both legs out. So it is totally up to you. Now I'm going to have Grace flip on her side. We're going to work a little bit more oblique. With the side, I like to have this hand down for balance. If you want to have your legs bent, that's fine. I like to have them straight. Depending, this arm is going to be straight over your head. You're going to try and keep it glued to your head as much as possible, and we're just going to crunch the upper body up as much as possible. So just the upper body. Okay. Yep, 1. We're doing 10. 2. Good. 3. 4. Awesome. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9, and 10. Now we're going to let the upper body rest, and we're just going to let the lower half go up. Make sure we're not rolling backwards and staying completely on the side. She's just going to lift the legs up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're actually going to do both lifting at the same time. However, I'm going to have her slow roll slightly back. So now it's going to hit a little bit more in the front and side versus all the side here. So she's going to crunch both up at the same time, and it's going to hit the front and side of the belly. Good. 2, 3, 4. Yep, put your hands behind your head if you need to. 5, 6. Good. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. We're going to switch sides. How'd that feel?
Oh, that's hard. That's good.
Good. All right, so for the first 2, keeping the hips nice and square, hitting more of the side, making sure that hips are not rolling back in this position yet. So just the upper body. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Rest the upper body. Make sure the legs are squeezing before you start lifting off the ground. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now for both, she slightly leans backwards, so it's going to hit front and side of the belly as she's crunching up, maybe back a little bit more. Right there, perfect. And 1, 2, and you can see where it's crunching. 3, good. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good, now I'm gonna have Grace roll on her belly. We're gonna do the same thing as we did on the side. We're gonna start with the upper body lifting, lower body, and then both. If you would like to stick your feet underneath the couch for the upper body, that's fine. Or if you have somebody that can hold your feet or your legs down. You can have your arms behind your head with elbows bent, or you can have them straight to make it more challenging. You can also have your hands down by your side. Just really make sure that you're engaging in that upper back. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we rest the upper body and just do the lower half. And 1, 2, make sure the legs are squeezing, really trying not to let those knees bend. 5, 6, 7, good, feet are engaged. 8, 9, and 10. Now we're gonna do both at the same time. Again, have your arms where you feel comfortable. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good, go ahead and relax. And now we're just gonna do a quick little stretch cool down. We're gonna come on our bottom. We're gonna switch to this position here. I like to have the back knee and the front knee in a 90-degree angle. And then I'm just gonna lean back as far as you can, hitting that back hip flexor. If your right leg is in front and your left leg is behind, it should be stretching that left hip flexor. Really trying to squeeze the glute and keep that hip open as you're leaning back. And we're gonna hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're gonna switch sides. Good, same thing, both legs at about a 90-degree bend, squeeze that glute, and then you can lean back. You can go back to your elbow if you're that flexible, or just hold here and really push that hip flexor forward and just kind of bend those elbows down until you feel a nice stretch. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.